You're listening to theoutdoorstation.co.uk. It's a podcast. It's a magazine. No, it's a podzine.
Hallo, herzlich willkommen in Friedrichshafen.
Hello and welcome to this Podzine from Friedrichshafen in Germany, the massive European outdoor trade fair located on the banks of Lake Constance, just across the water from Zurich in Switzerland. At this, the 14th outdoor show, there are 731 firms from over 40 countries representing more than 800 brands, all spread out across 11 halls, an open-air display ground totalling approximately 72,000 square metres. Yes, if outdoor gear and clothing is your big thing, this would be your nirvana. This is where the European outdoor industry come to see, fondle and order the goods you may be seeing on the shelves of your outdoor store, sometimes towards the end of next year. It's also the place where the industry gets to touch base with each other, schmooze new clients, source distributors, haggle with manufacturers and drink far too much German beer. Run over 4 days, there are very prestigious awards to be won, a huge amount of activities for exhibitors and visitors to witness alike, and a chance to chill out at the biggest multinational outdoor party on Saturday evening, with food, music, entertainment, tight-rope walkers, and much, much more. Needless to say, the noise on the exhibition floor on Sunday is slightly subdued. The Outdoor Station was one of countless press organisations from around Europe to attend, and we wanted to chat to as many award winners, innovative companies, old friends and interesting new contacts as we could manage in our time there. I hope this podzine gives you a general flavour of the event and perhaps whets your appetite for some of the products waiting in the wings for 2008. Any web links that we have to accompany the interviews can be found next to the podcast on theoutdoorstation.co.uk. The top-class international jury, which included from the UK, David Fisher from Seymour Powell and Graham Thompson from Trail magazine, presented 1 gold, 6 silver and 23 bronze awards for outstanding performances at the second Outdoor Industry Awards ceremony. There were 204 entries. To quote from the press release, this is what the jury had to say. The jury established that innovations in the outdoor industry are generally taking place in small steps. Evolution instead of revolution is the motto. With isomats, sleeping bags, tents and accessories, for example, the focus is predominantly on the smallest weight minimization or speed of use increase. Details are being continually enhanced. In the area of ecology, the jury saw further potential for innovation in the future. The product's entire eco-balance could be worked on here and there, and the use of materials that can easily be recycled must become more widespread, summarised the jury. Now, on with the show. On the flight out, I'd noticed a few adverts and articles in various outdoor magazines from a company based in New Zealand. The graphic was of a charming young lady emerging from a cocoon of silk, accompanied by the strapline of the amazing metamorphosis of a silk body garment. In one of the halls, this very same graphic, some 12 foot high, really stood out, and it naturally drew me into the web of Emily Cooper, MD and designer of silk body clothing, at her first European trade show.
It's been fantastic. We're very glad that we came. We've had a lot of interest from actually all over Europe, but also places like Japan, Chile, Netherlands. So we came here looking for distributors, and I don't think it'll be too long before we have distributors in Europe.
They're lovely products. They're really, I have to say, of a range of products, they're fantastic to touch, very tactile, and obviously must be very comfortable to wear. How did the business come about?
Well, we started with something called a silk sack, which is a silk sleeping bag liner, which was something that my father started selling in New Zealand. And that was about 10 years ago. And about 5 years ago, I finished a degree in clothing and textile science at university. and we wanted to expand my father's business in the silk side of things, and we came up with the idea for Silk Body. We wanted to create some underwear made of silk that didn't just look like underwear, that you could also wear as a nice garment every day.
Well, it's certainly, I think you've achieved your goal there. Let's talk a little bit, just technical for a second, about the actual material and the functions of the material.
Sure. Well, those of you who are listening probably know a little bit about merino, which has become quite popular recently. Silk is another protein fibre, so it has some very similar properties to merino. It absorbs 30% moisture without feeling damp. You can wear it for weeks on end and it doesn't smell. It's naturally fire retardant. In fact, silk burns at 170 degrees Celsius, which is makes it more heat resistant than merino actually. But it has some advantages over merino, the main one being that it's much finer than merino. It's 11 microns, whereas merino is about 18 or 19. So this means that you can create very lightweight fabrics, and this means that they actually dry much faster than merino.
Obviously, the theory then, if it's a light fabric, it's possibly a delicate fabric. What's it like for wearing as regards durability, and also how do you wash it?
Well, actually, silk is nature's strongest natural fibre, so it actually is compared to steel wire of the same diameter. When you're washing it, however, you do need to give it a little bit of care. You can't put it in very hot wash. You shouldn't really tumble dry it. And you shouldn't also use harsh detergents like sort of cold water powders. You really need to treat it like a merino garment. And if you do care for it well like that, it will last for years and years. And the other thing is that you don't actually have to wash it that often because you can wear it for weeks on end.
Which is why it appeals so much to the outdoor world, of course. Now, you've got a range of products here, lovely colours as well, and I see you also design for male and for female form, which in itself is quite attractive. Take me through some of the popular items you've got.
Well, the most popular items are our basic base layers. So that would be long sleeve crew. Long sleeve crew for men and women, black being the most popular colour, of course.
Naturally.
And also the leg liner, which is long johns, and they're also for men and women. The men's has a fly. And after that would be the gloves, the liner gloves, which are very popular as a liner glove, but also on their own, just as a lightweight glove. That enables you to keep your dexterity. Also the liner socks, which again you can also wear on their own, but they're fantastic as a liner under a thicker sock. They absorb moisture from your foot, keep the odour away, and also help prevent blisters.
And I also see you've got a cap there on the stand.
Yes, the balaclava, do you mean?
The balaclava and the cap there. You got a cap?
Yes, there's a little hat called a caterpillar hat, which can be worn under a helmet or on its own. And the balaclava, which is made of pure silk, and that's also excellent sort of under a helmet. It's very light, but very nice to wear next to the skin on the face. Keeps you warm and cool, so comfortable.
And is that sort of for the skiing market, or is that just general sort of any winter use?
Well, we sell more to the ski market than anything else, but also to motorcyclists, mountaineers. It's not the sort of thing you would wear down the street.
Unless you want to attract a certain type of attention.
No.
And this one for ladies here?
This one I sort of did for a bit of fun. It's called a hood, and it's actually sort of like a hat and a scarf all in one. So the hat extends down into a scarf and you can wrap it around, keeps your ears warm.
Nice. And is that proven to be popular?
Well, it has actually, more popular than I sort of had expected it would be, and they actually look very, very cute on, sort of has sort of an aviation look.
Windswept and interesting.
Yes.
Well, I know that going into the UK at the moment you've got a handful of the range sort of currently available. Where do you see it going over the next 3 or 4 years with the feedback that you're getting from the show?
Well, we actually do quite a large range. The UK is just starting off with as you said, a small range, but we actually do about 35 different styles, and we don't just do base layers, we also do mid layers and soft shell layers. So I would expect that the UK would move into those layers in the next few years, and one of the layers has actually won an Outdoor Industry Award this year.
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Thank you. Called the Silk Fleece, which is a soft shell layer, and it's made of 100% silk. It actually is a dual layer garment. It has a silk fleece on the inside and a silk knit on the outside, so it traps the warm air between the layers as well as in the fleece, which means that it's very warm but it's very lightweight, and of course because it's silk it feels pretty fantastic on the skin.
I've just been handling the garment now, and it just wonderful, feels wonderful against the skin.
Thank you. Yes.
Anyway, well, we'd like to wish you well on the rest of the show. I hope it goes well for you, and we look forward to seeing more products in the UK and the rest of Europe.
Cheers, Bob.
Swedish outdoor clothing company Klattermusen had a much larger stand this show, and were very proudly showing the prestigious awards they had won here 2 years running for 2 different products. One glance at their range and you immediately know they are serious products for serious people who enjoy serious weather conditions. All of the team are obviously outdoor enthusiasts, which gives the company great pedigree and knowledge. Eva Askolf runs the family-based company with her husband and designer Peter.
The last year we won it with a leaf sweater, the first down sweater, very lightweight, replaces all the heavy bulky fleece that you have had on previously, and with an ETA-proof cotton jacket that is also organical cotton and fluorocarbon free. This year we won it with another item that's the first one on the market ever. That's a very, very soft, hard shell with 4-way stretch. It's a PU membrane, so it has very good breathability, although we don't say that something breathes, that's only humans, but jackets can let you sweat more or less. It's also fluorocarbon free, the first one ever made. So we hope that a lot of companies will follow us and, well, use the same material. They feel very free about that.
Well, I've tried on both items. I'm a great fan of the live jacket anyway, or the live smock anyway, which has always been beautifully made. And I think it's the only one with a box wall construction in the down. Am I correct in saying that?
Well, it's a bit tricky to make box wall constructions on an item that is so thin and light as the leaf jacket is. But it can be done, and if it can be done, there's no reason you shouldn't. Then it would only be economical and sort of lazy reasons. So, of course, it has box wall.
It's superb. It's superb. And the jacket. I've just tried the jacket on as well, and certainly the stretch capability is immense on that. Now, is that sort of for a backpacker type of person, or are you talking more serious climbing? Because the company pedigree is based on winter climbing, I guess. Is that right?
It's based on winter climbing. It's based on expeditions. It's based on very harsh weather conditions. It has to be long-lasting and reliable gear with function. Not so many fancy colors. That's not what you need when it's harsh weather. You need something that really works. And this jacket is, like all the other jackets we have, equipped with a compass, equipped with a whistle, and equipped with very long arms. So it's suitable for climbing, for ice climbing, and things like that. Not, though, the really worst winter expedition tours, because that's the only shell jacket we have in the program that doesn't have a wind screen around the face. So it's more an all year round jacket.
Okay. Well, obviously your weather conditions in Sweden are slightly harsher than ours. Not that we have much in the way of weather pattern anyway in England these days. So tell me a bit of background about the company, because obviously the pictures I've seen, the pictures on the stand here, you really do go out and test the gear in some serious conditions, what I would class as serious conditions.
Yeah, of course. I can tell you that it was started 23 years ago, and it was the founder, Peter Askolf, is also the owner and the designer of all garments. He's also my husband, by the way. Anyway, he started it because he found that there was no gear that was reliable and strong enough for the conditions he was using them in, on expeditions, on long winter tours, dog sledging, things like that. that the things he was using were breaking down, basically to start with backpacks. So he started making backpacks, then he made anoraks, gaiters, just because his experience was that he needed something that could hold and withstand the conditions.
There's certainly an elegant simplicity in the design. You really don't, or he doesn't, design products that have got lots of marketing flair. They're really functional equipment, aren't they?
Yeah, that's the goal. I mean, function, durability, I don't know if it's the right word, sustainability for the environment is very important issues. And if it looks good in the end, that's fine. That's a bonus.
Excellent. What's the show been like for you? Because obviously you're sort of catering for sort of more serious weather conditions. Do you find that the retailers and the distributors that have come to see you have got customers that need these sort of products, that they're actually selling to people using them in these sort of conditions?
Absolutely. I mean, there is a lot of companies on the market that goes more and more mainstream. They all follow the same trail, and it goes more and more towards leisure, fashion, sort of the looks of it. And there is a huge market for that. And it's very tempting, I guess, for a lot of companies to follow that stream. But we stay very, very niched, very functional. We don't do the fancy colors. We don't do the leisure wear, because there are so many others that do that, and so few that stick with these really functional, heavy-duty, quite heavy, not so much lightweight in the stronger shell jackets that we have. We are almost alone on that little platform or niche.
Yeah, I didn't. I never realised that. And so what has the response been like?
It's been great. People are very happy that someone is sticking to some sort of core in the functionability.
So what do you see for the next few years for yourself then? Sort of obviously more equipment along a similar nature. Anything that's new that's coming through in the next couple of years that you see as being important to people?
Important is that we think about the environment. I mean, in our catalogue, for example, we state that our headline is that you shouldn't buy a jacket unless you really need one. Because we have to think and take responsibility for the environment, and we try to do that by producing lasting products, but also to produce them as good for the environment as possible. Ecological cotton, fluorocarbon-free impregnation, and fluorocarbon-free materials. We don't use Teflon, hence we don't use Gore-Tex, we don't use Event. We use PU membranes because they're more good for the environment and for us. I mean, we are a part of that as well. We're doing merino wool with naturally dyed merino, that we are alone on that one as well. We hope that the others will follow.
So you really are pioneering the marketplace with those sort of credentials.
We can do that because we are small. We're not dependent on, for example, I don't want to mention any names, but if you are not tied up with fabric brands, you can choose your own way, and that means you can choose a way that feels good in the heart.
Great. Well, congratulations once again on the awards, and it's been fascinating to find a bit more about the company, so I wish you well, and hopefully I'll see you again here next year.
Yeah, I hope so too. You're so welcome.
Regular listeners will know that we've interviewed Brian Vargo, designer of titanium outdoor products in the US, once before. However, we had never met, so it was a very pleasant surprise to turn the corner and find him displaying his wares for the curious passing world to see. Once we had caught up, he explained how this, his first adventure to a European show, was turning out.
This is the very first show I've ever done in Europe, yes.
And what's the response been and so on?
The response has been very good. A lot of people are interested in the stoves because they're unique. A lot of people look at them and the reaction is, what is this? First of all. So after I explain, how they operate, people have been very interested. And so time will tell, but I think it's been pretty positive so far.
Well, you've got the Triad stove there, and is that the Triad XD?
It's called the Triad XE.
XE.
Yep.
Right. Okay. But that's the new one that I've got on the end. What's that one called?
Correct. That's called the Decagon stove, and that's actually I've been working on it for over a year, and finally it's now in stock and in production. It's the main concept with that stove is basically that it's bomb-proof. There's no moving parts. There's really nothing to break, and it's easy to fill. So that's the main reason that I wanted to have that stove. I mean, each of the stoves are a little bit unique in their own way. Obviously, the Triad is the lightest, the most compact. The Triad XE, it's dual fuel, so you have alcohol or fuel tab use. And the Decagon, the main concept there is just basically indestructible.
Okay, and quite a fierce burn, I should imagine, as well.
Yeah, it works. The performance is almost the same on all of them.
Right.
A liter of water boils in approximately 6.5 minutes.
Okay.
I'm sorry, not a liter, half a liter.
Yes,
I don't want to confuse people.
Yes, you're in Europe now.
Yeah, right. I know. I have to get used to the conversions.
Is there a generalisation then of the people that have stopped by and shown interest of what particular country they're from and their enthusiasm for the product?
Yeah, it's been interesting because most of the buyers that I talk to, I'd say obviously we're in Germany, so most have been German, but the number of international buyers as far as like from other European countries has been pretty good. In particular, Russia, which was surprising to me. I had mentioned to you before, has shown a lot of interest. South Africa, there's a lot of people here from South Africa as well. Yeah, I mean, like I said, time will tell to see what really happens, but people have shown, it seemed to me, to be a genuine interest in the products. So we'll see. Excellent.
Well done. I presume, like everybody else, you've obviously taken time off to have a wander around the show and have a look at other people's products and what's going on. Anything that inspires you at all that you've seen?
Well, no one has anything similar to what I have. So within my niche category of stoves, I don't really think so. But it's interesting to see a lot of the brands that are here that I have never seen or heard of before. I go to the trade shows in the U.S., the Outdoor Retailer Trade Show, which is the largest show in America. And so it's just interesting to see, the trends here in Europe as opposed to the trends in America. I think that in America, it probably is more, the focus really is more on ultra lightweight backpacking, and most of the major companies even are now getting into that and have been into it for a number of years. And I see like the tents in particular in Europe, the styles are different than they are in the US. So it's just interesting for me to be here for the first time and try to mentally take note to those differences.
So what do you think you're going to take back with you from that point of view?
Well, take back. I think for me as a company wanting to get into the European market, it's just being here and seeing what other companies are doing, what the trends are. That's probably the most important part as far as if I intend to try to make more headway into Europe. To see what else is out there, what other people are doing. So that's probably mostly what I'll take back.
Excellent. You obviously with the range of products, you've got your stoves, the gas stove, and the sporks and the spork collections and so on, and naturally the pegs and the pots. Is there anything else that's sort of bubbling underneath your designer's hat that you're thinking about now?
I cannot tell you. It's top secret. No, but there actually is, and I do have some ideas that will hopefully come into fruition within maybe 8 or 9 months. But it's still working within titanium, but and again, I don't want to say too much, but yeah, I do have some ideas and some products that I'm going to develop here in the future, try to take this to the next level, so to speak.
So can we expect to see you here again next year?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I had a great time. Met a lot of people, met a lot of contacts. So yeah, I very much would like to come here next year.
Excellent. Thank you very much for your time.
No problem.
We only managed to take a few breaks during the show at the press office, or rather the lovely sunny press garden, and on one occasion we bumped into Chris Townsend, Cameron McNeish and Judy Armstrong. Over a coffee and some exotic cakes, we compared notes on the exciting and not so exciting products we'd seen so far. Now, when someone like Chris tells you he's been very impressed by a new piece of technical kit, one tends to pay attention. And so for several hours I was looking for a product he was raving about called SatMap. Eventually I tracked it down and asked Mark Calthrop Owen if it was indeed true that they had a new product which was unique in the GPS mapping marketplace.
Absolutely. No one can do what we've achieved. We've developed this product over the last 2 years. It's a rugged outdoor device. It's waterproof to a depth of 1 metre. It's dustproof, vibration-proof, shock-proof. It's been dropped from a height of 1 metre onto concrete from all angles. It has a screen protector. It's not a touch screen because that would be too fragile for the outdoor market. But once the screen protector is too scratched, it's easily flippable. You can easily flip it off and replace it.
So to describe it to people then, it's about the size of a PDA with a very large screen on it and nice chunky buttons that you push inwards from the outside. Is that correct?
Absolutely. So it's designed for one-handed use. For instance, the skiing market, you can hold your poles in one hand. Large buttons, you can operate with gloves, with a side press. If you're halfway up a climber could use it one-handed also.
Let's go through the key features of it. It comes with UK mapping.
It's loaded onto the hard drive with UK road mapping, and that's 1:1 million scale. You can zoom through the 1:1 million scale onto vector mapping and show streets with street names. That's not the primary function of the device. That's just what it comes hard loaded with. The idea is that we have mapping which is loaded on SD cards separately, and the scale for the UK is typically 1 to 50,000, and also on the same SD card 1 to 25,000 scale.
Okay, well let's just show me something here you've in the UK and zoom through if you would and take it down to 50,000, because that's remarkably clear on the screen. But while you're doing that and putting the card in, what does it actually run off power-wise?
It runs off 3 AA batteries. What we have in here are lithium batteries, and the typical life of the 3 batteries is with full screen brightness, which is the main power draw. We get 9 hours continuous usage, but with 80% backlight setting, that doubles the battery life, and going down to a 0 power setting, there's a trans-reflective screen which reflects back sunlight and then enables navigation with no backlight setting whatsoever. Using boxing clever, you can eke out the battery life with a typical, we estimate, user profile of something like 30-35 hours.
Okay, and as you showed me earlier on, then it takes 3 AA batteries, but it's also exchangeable for a high-density lithium battery?
That's right. You can replace the cradle with a lithium polymer rechargeable battery. There's a charging circuit in the unit so that you can actually charge via a mini USB port from your laptop, for instance, out in the outdoors.
Okay, and I presume with some of these solar chargers you could also use one of those in that sort of situation?
We are currently looking at the market for a solar charging option.
Okay, well let's zoom into somewhere interesting.
I'm now looking at the screen and toggling through some of the options which we have. So there's an onboard digital compass.
With direction heading and everything?
Absolutely. A trip log records total distance, total time, the maximum speed, average speed. Moving on, the next screen shows you the satellite locks. On there we have about 16 satellites, which was the last time it was out of the hangar, and those are the satellites that we had a lock on. Typical lock time, if you can put it that way, is between 52 and 65 seconds. Okay. One of the main enemies of GPS are cloud, rain and wet leaves, and also the canyon environment, even the urban canyon environment where steel's involved, for instance in London. And we have tested it in all of those environments, and using the flat patch antenna, Surf 3, we get a very strong GPS reception, and we have experienced no problems in GPS lock whatsoever.
Excellent, okay. So what else are we going through there?
So then, that's the vector mapping on there. If you zoom out.
It zooms very quickly in and out there.
Absolutely. The strength of the system is the fact that we have, our software engineers have written algorithms which encrypt mapping, and we rapidly compress and decompress mapping so that what you see is rapid screen updates. Nobody else has managed to develop that in the world.
And you can presumably dial in a grid reference if you're looking for a place, and as well as continue giving you an update of where you are.
You can dial in a grid reference, and that's been of great interest, for instance, to mountain rescue teams who need to go to quickly to GPS coordinates.
You said it gives you a snail trail as well?
It does indeed. So again, the mountain rescue application is very interesting for people. It shows where the search pattern has reached and gives options for access into inaccessible areas that they wouldn't have otherwise thought of.
Well, it's a fabulous product, and I have to say there's this immediate urgency of me to reach into my pocket for a checkbook and grab one. What's the availability? Is it in market already?
We're just reaching the end of a 2-year development period, and we're about to reach the UK market. In about 3 weeks' time, it'll be going out to wholesalers, and we anticipate it being available to the UK retail market by the beginning of September.
Now, the first question most people will obviously ask is, obviously it comes with the UK road mapping there, but how much are maps and how are they supplied?
The cost of mapping depends on the area, obviously. For instance, a UK county retails at £30. We have divided the UK into 10 regions, and a regional map is £59. Half of the UK at a scale of 1 to 50,000 is £100, and the full UK mapping at 1 to 50,000 is £165.
So could somebody just buy Scotland, for example, if they were interested in Scotland or just the Wales area?
Yes, they could, absolutely. That would be included in the regional mapping at £59, although we have mapped separately the Highland Islands.
Brilliant. And what's the response been like in Friedrichshafen?
Unbelievable. Everyone is clamouring for this product. They have been waiting for this product for over 2 years, more than the time that we've spent developing the product. Everyone has been waiting for GPS to tie it in with high quality mapping, and finally the product is now available in the marketplace. The world is going mad for this.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for your time. Brilliant. I'm really looking forward to getting my hands on one.
Thank you very much.
A quick thank you to all my guests for taking the time to join me on this Podzine, and to you, of course, for listening. More from Friedrichshafen will follow very shortly. And don't forget, any web links and details can be found on theoutdoorstation.co.uk. Until next time, take care, get out there and enjoy the rest of the summer.
Auf Wiedersehen. Wir freuen uns, nächstes Jahr Sie wieder bei uns begrüßen zu dürfen.
This independent programme is produced and hosted by theoutdoorstation.co.uk.